Alright, new 5x5 just dropped. So yeah, this is the new smallest 1.05 here, which I made with Timmerman and Soul. Finished like a couple days ago, last week. Yeah, pretty cool door. It's just 4 blocks deep here, 624 blocks in volume. So yeah, let me just show you how it looks. How it closes, decently fast as well. And this is how it opens. Yeah, so the animation isn't like super clean, but it's not that bad as well. We spent some time fixing like the closing. Originally had like a lot of like derpy moves that we hadn't really needed. And yeah, you can probably already kind of see how the sides work. But I will of course be getting into detail how those work exactly. But yeah, anyways, yeah, without any further ado, let's just get started. So your building area is going to be 13 wide, 12 tall and 4 deep. Now let's look at the materials here. So this is all you're going to need. These can be any gravity block. These can be any immovable block that's also solid. These can be any movable block that yeah, doesn't destroy sand or any gravity block when it falls on top. Although one can just be any block really. And then you need 2 items to silence the droppers here, and one of them shouldn't be compostable, otherwise you will lose it. And then you hear the dropper noise. And now you need something to fill the cauldron, but it can be anything. Alright, let's place our layout. So we go up 4 blocks here in the center and 1 block from the front. And now we can just place our 5x5 frame. Like this. Now keep in mind, if you build a store in your base or something, then you probably want the front here towards the outside, because then it's not that deep in the wall, right? You only need to like cover it like so. Otherwise it would be 1 block deeper. But that's up to you. Anyways, let's place the layout. Now the top is standard. We have our singles here and our triple piston center in the center like so, with the fold, so it's 1 less tall. Now the bottom, usually people have these block swappers in the 1.05 bottom, right? So you retract this, push this up, and then you can store the blocks. But we don't really have room for this here because the side blocks it, so instead we are just going to push up after the side has pushed in like this. And then this also closes that top block here. On the opening, this will just do a pulse, the side retracts, and then it's seamless again. Right, left side, fairly similar. Just make sure this is a sticky piston. And an observer in between that it points towards the front. And in the center, we're going to have a double extender, and then we need 1 more storage right here. Alright, now this is where it gets interesting, the sides. So we will start by placing 4 sets of doubles like this. Now we need to place 8 blocks here, right? We got 4 blocks here. We have 1 more block here, which you can store like so. So the sequence is this basically. This is semi-hipster really. Now we can store 1 more block here for this bottom, but the last 2 blocks we're actually going to store on the wall itself. So we're going to have pistons like this basically. Now opening, sorry, closing, these push out, and these store the blocks, and then this, you know, pushes out again, and opening the same thing but vice versa, like so. Now this comes with a bunch of issues. For one, these blocks will be left in the hallway, so it's not even seamless. You know, it's not even opened, it's just bad, basically. So yeah, we need to get those back somehow. And originally, we had this idea here. You know, move it out of the way, have a double extender, and move these back. But that's like really awful to wire actually, because the inputs are really bad. So instead I came up with a slider idea. Where we simply just, you know, we do this. And we slide up these 2 pistons. They can grab those blocks. And then we just slide everything back down. Like so. Now, one more issue though, which is when we store these blocks, there's now a hole in the wall, right? So we'll have to fill that in during the closing, so that it's seamless. And we're going to have 2 pistons here, which are just going to push in these blocks to make the wall look nice, and in the opening they just retract the blocks straight. Like so. Now that would work, but we need 1 more thing due to the wiring, which is this piston here that's just going to pull this down. And why exactly we need that I will explain when we get to that. Anyways, let's quickly copy this over to the other side. So again, 4 doubles, top storage, bottom storage, and then a pattern of pistons like so. Piston below like this. Our blocks to make the wall seamless. Our pistons to store the blocks. Wall blocks and storage blocks, right? And now we can place in the slider like so. And then return like this. Right, and this time we don't need any like wall sliders or anything because we can simply power the pistons here through the wall. So, alright, so that's our layout done, and we can move on to the input line. Alright, so your input block will be right here. And now actually we didn't color code the store because it's a bit pointless, because there's not really a lot of blocks to even color code to begin with. So yeah, anyways, pistons like so. Right one has a raster block, left one has a normal block. Let's start on the left side here. So 2 blocks here. Scaffolding on top of the second block. Blocks like so. Observer pointing inwards. Observer pointing downwards here. Then a slab staircase like this. And now a normal piston facing down. Slab up like here. And an observer on top. Right, now we just place dust everywhere like so. And yeah, that's pretty much it. We just need a couple more things. For one, this actually doesn't get powered because there's just a block, right? So observer pointing down right here. And then a torch on the side of that, like so. Now, we need one more thing though, which is this gets powered directly, right? And later on we will have blocks here, so these also get powered. Now, depending on if, you know, these pistons or this piston go first, which depends on the dust upgrade order, this will actually just push down and break. So to prevent this, we will just place a third block here. That's immovable. Alright, that's the left side done. Now right side is a little bit different, but fairly similar. So slab here, so it doesn't power the piston basically. Block up. 2 observers like so. Scaffolding on top, not block here. Block down. Observer pointing in. And now on this side we don't need that observer, we can just have this. Now we go up. Place an observer pointing downwards like so. One more slab up, and then 2 observers like so. Now this is going to push down, so just replace that. It won't be an issue later on because the side blocks it. Now target block here. And then we place dust everywhere. So before you place this, just remove it, and then you can replace it like so. And yeah, that is the input line done, pretty much. And yeah, now we can move on to the sides. Let's start with the right side then here, or left side if you're watching from the front. Anyways, first up we need to push out all of these blocks. And yeah, we will just power the pistons from the input line, and then we have a slider here that goes up, that cuts the pulls and the blocks get pushed out. Return piston on top, like so, right? So slider looks like this, glass, observer, block, gap, and then return piston. Now to actually power the piston, we use the observer placed earlier. And to activate this, or to trigger it, we use a normal piston, and it has to be normal by the way, and a gravity block. And the reason we have this, basically, it gives different delay on the falling edge, right? It takes 2 game ticks to fall. And this way we get the correct timing to later on be able to power the front pistons through these blocks here. Alright, that's that. Now let's do the storage here, this one and that one. So also, you know, already gets powered here, but it's actually blocked by these side pistons. So we need something else, which is this here. So wall blocks, dust on top, and then just a piston and observer. Now funnily enough, this also gets blocked, but this turns off 1 game tick after this is turned off. And this turning off actually updates this to extend, because at that timing these are already retracting and this is free to push. So that's how that works, and then the opening just, you know, retracts. Now down here, observer here, repeater on 4 game ticks, and they block. Now before I test this, just remove these 2 blocks here, otherwise it would like kind of mess up right now. So yeah, closing does this, and if we push the slider down now, get the full extension, and then opening is the same thing but reversed, you know. So far it's pretty simple. But yeah, let's move on to the cool part, which is the wall storage. So our input for the back pistons here is going to be a block with a node block as an instant updater, and a dust on top. To power this we use an observer. Now, this would actually be fast enough if we have like some odd game tick timing here and stuff, but that's like super annoying to actually get, because kind of use up all the room here and here. So yeah, instead we use something else, which is we just 0 ticket out at 2 game ticks, and then we can just have normal observer pulls here and don't need to worry about timings here a lot. So normal piston here. And this here is going to push this away, and then we have enough blocky ventilator to make this 0 tick reliably. And now, as you can notice, when this is down, it repowers this input as well. So really all we need to do to retract this is just to power this piston again, and then we get that. And yeah, we just place 2 observers like so, and then a repeater on 2 game ticks. Alright. And we also already have the pulse for that piston over here because it's powered through the ceiling. So really all it needs now is an update to turn off, and that will come from that piston here. Because updated to turn on by being placed, right? Because it's placed after this has turned on. And yeah, we power the bottom piston through the wall here. Using a note block here, sticky piston next to it, and then a log. It's just going to update this, and then the piston powered, right? Alright, I guess I can show you that already. So the blocks get inserted like this, and if you push this down, it works. Now this actually went 3 times, as you just saw. That's because when this, retracts, it repowers this, extends, and then the observer powers this again. But that actually won't matter because the slider is just going to block that. Alright, and the opening, of course, same thing but reversed. Oops. Alright, now let's finish these the storage here. So let's do the slider. First up, piston here, and then the scaffolding on top, then 2 observers like so. So this needs to power 11 game ticks, and the reasoning is that if it would be later, we would need some 0 tick here to retract these blocks. But if it's 11, we can get everything with just normal observers. That's like really nice. And yeah, we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11 game ticks here. Then up like so, and then a block here. But this actually needs to be immovable as well. Not the other side, but yeah, I explain it when we get there. And this also takes care of this piston. Alright, now we actually need to pulse to power these, right? And we are going to power through this block here. Like so. And that's also the reason that we need this piston. Because later on, the piston is here. This actually will get QC through here. And the side actually does update it. So what will be happening is that this will do a 380 pulse. And push out the block like that. And yeah, obviously we don't want that, so we just retract it before that happens, and the closing just pushes it in. Yeah, anyways, that is that. Let's get the actual timing here now. So for that we need some part of the sides. So observer coming out of this into the back pistons that actually already takes care of those. Then piston here. Observer, repeater on 4 game ticks, observer going up. And then a rail like so, right? So the piston is here. Anyways, from that observer, we can literally just go down like so. And yeah, we use this input to also do these 2 pistons here. I mean, this one will actually be done with something else as well, but this is kind of the only way to reach this piston, which is like kind of nice. And yeah, so now we can place an observer here. This reaches the slider, and then one going down that does the final retraction for this top piston here. Alright, so that should be the slider almost done. We just need to power these 2 pistons now, which is really simple. Just a repeater on 8 game ticks, 2 observers, and then block right here. Now I guess you can test this. The sides aren't finished yet, but the storage should work. Yeah, so it does that. Oh yeah, this didn't power because I broke the block and didn't replace it. And now on the opening, we get this, and we retract this, and everything is reset. Yeah, so all we really need now is the bottom pistons here, and then after that we need the seamless thing. Now our input for these back pistons will be this block, and to power it, all we need are 2 observers like so, lamp and 1 more observer. By the way, you need to place this observer like so and not like this, because later on there will be a sticky piston right here, and then we'll do a 380 pulse from this, so you can't have that, so we did it this way basically. Alright, reset that. There's the back piston, so now all we need is the final retraction for this piston here, which you get like so. Piston here and observer. So basically from the lamp, observer over, piston down here, observer up, and that's it. Alright, so that should be the side pretty much done. So closing is like ugly right now, but adding the bottom will fix that. And then opening like so. And now we just need the seamless thingy here. So basically the closing needs to be pretty late because we power the pistons through the block here, right? And the opening needs to be really early. So what we're going to have is a repeater here on 2 game ticks, sticky piston with a block. It can be any block that doesn't destroy sand when you force on top of it. and then 2 gravity blocks. And what we're going to do is this turns on the closing, right? But nothing happens because there's no block here. And after a pretty big delay, we just push this up, and now the seamless thing is powered. And opening, this just turns off really early, and then, you know, we just retract that. Right, now to do this, rail here, 2 observers and a block right here. Alright, and that should be the right side done. As you can see, everything gets pushed out and the wall is nice and seamless. And now the opening, this retracts, these can ride the block, and then we just have the double extender, and that's it. Right, so let's do the left side next. Its timings are exactly the same, it's just some ways of writing them a little bit different. So first up, the slider. We have actually 2 observers here, our blocks and final observer. Return piston here. And now our piston and gravity block right here. Alright, now for the storage. On top we are going to need a hopper and an observer and a block. 2 wall blocks and dust on top. Now this is basically the same as this side, except instead of this pulse being the one that powers it, it's just constant power from here. And this updates it, or rather this dust updates it to, you know, extend. Bottom, the exact same on this side, just mirrored, so observer here on, and then repeater on top on 4 game ticks. Alright, let's do the wall storage next, like so. Dust on top of this. And then we're going to have our thing here. Now I'm going a little bit faster because there isn't really much to explain, because the other side is like the same, you know. So I'm just going to place the blocks like so. This is exactly the same as the other side. Now we need the input for that piston right here, observer, and then another piston. Alright, so that should be the storage blocks done, and now we need to get the slider and the double piston extender. So 2 observers here into a block, and then a piston like so, scaffolding on top. 2 observers like so, going into this, 1 going up, going into a block. Takes care of that and that. And now you can do the doubles here. So that's actually a little bit different than the other side. So we come up here where the repeater is and go over 1 observer, down 2 observers like so. Now the back pistons here, exactly the same as on the other side, 2 observers like so. Now we come in here really quick, place an observer pointing down, replace this. And now we can place a rail here and here. So right, this goes down, the rail carries it up, and then we get the input here. Observer down here as well. We have this already from here, and then to power that, just place an observer like this. Alright, let's get these 2 pistons next. So repeat on maximum setting, 2 observers, and then a block. Alright, so all we really need now is these 2 bottom pistons and the seamless thing. So again, this is our input. We are just powering a little bit differently. And that is like so. What's going to happen is on the closing, this goes up, which means the observer can power the rail through it, and then, you know, this carries it up, and the second pulse comes from this piston. And on the opening, since this takes 2 game picks to fall, this will actually also get powered by this, and then the same thing happens again. Alright, so we are almost done here with the left side. Just 2 more observers like so, so pretty much just a big chain. Dust here, sticky piston here with a block that doesn't destroy gravity blocks, but they fall on top of it. Gravity block here, and then repeater on 2 game decks. Alright, and I think that should be the left side done as well. Let's see. Oh yeah, I did forget something, which is these 2 blocks. And we also need the final retraction for that piston here, but I will get that in really quick. Yeah, so all we really need now is that pulse, which again, same thing as the other side. We just get like so. Alright, and now it should actually work entirely. Alright, perfect. And now we can move on to the top. Alright, so first thing we need to do is push this down, and then we power these 2. That's literally all we need to do for the triple to do the closing. And the singles kinda, you know, are wired together with the triple. So yeah, now next to the target block, we have a piston with a leaf. And then an observer here that's going to do this. We'll power that. And now for these 2, observer here, and a dropper that faces into these pistons here, so we can actually silence it later, and then 3 observers like so for these 2. And that's already the closing here. Alright, next up we want the start of the opening, right? So now the cauldron comes into play. We place it on the piston that we placed earlier here, fill it up, and then return piston here. Now a comparator, block, repeater on 4, sealing block, 1 more block, and then a dropper hopper here, and an item in the dropper to silence it. Now 2 dust here. So yeah, what's going to happen is this extends here, cuts this off, this goes up, then on the opening retracts, this power tripper can extend, and then after 9 games you will make this turn off. So how do we make it turn off? Well, really simple, leave here and an observer. Alright, I can actually show you what it does right now. And yeah, so it does this. But now we kind of have an issue, which is that when this uncuts, this powers, but there's nothing that updates this because the signal is already on, right? So we need something for that. That's going to be a piston, right here, sticky piston, and this is going to have a composter attached to it. So what it's going to do is basically, as you see from here, right, this retracts, uncuts this updates this to retract as well, and that updates this piston to extend. And now if I place an observer here at the block, we already get quite a bit of the triple done, like so. Now we have an issue in the closing, which is that this will just go instantly over and push this away. So in order to prevent that, observer here, and an obsidian here, or like really any immovable block that's also solid. Now by itself it actually won't go over in the closing, so we need to update this, which will come from here. And by the way, this will also update that single here to let that push down on the opening here, and the way we get that is by placing a repeater here on the maximum setting. So this will basically just be blocked for most of the time, and then when this updates it, it will do the pulse. Right, and now we can see the closing here and part of the opening. So really all we need to do is we need to cut this pulse short on the opening, and then we need to retract that piston up to here, and then we make it 0 tick here. Alright, so we cut the pulse with this sticky piston here. Now to actually get that observer here, sticky piston here, redstone block here, 2 observers up like this, a rail here, observer here, and then a block with a repeater and 2 gate picks. Alright, so this will power instantly in the opening, which means this retracts at 4, which would mean that this powers at 6, right? But this keeps it on until 6, so actually this detects when it turns off instead, which means this is 8, this is 10, turns off 12, is the perfect timing here. And yeah, then it just gets, pushed back at 9 here, or actually at 11 when this turns on, and it will just, basically grab this and place it back. And since this cuts this off in the closing, nothing happens here in the closing, which is really nice because then the top doesn't, split this block out, which would be really ugly. Alright, next up we want a double pulse and observer here, which is going to do the, the rest of the opening. So we will be placing a normal piston here, 2 observers like so, and then what we're going to do for the final retraction is, we use this, but we simply cut off the pulse at 18 gate picks, which is a bit early. Alright, now to do this, block here with a repeater on 4 game ticks, 2 observers, and then block here. Right, so that should be triple done. So right now this pushes down, but the bottom will actually later prevent that from happening. And now if I slow down the game a bit, you will see that 0 tick here, 0 tick here. Right, so the triple works, but we need like a couple more things to make these single extenders or single pistons behave. So for one, 2 dust like so. And then we also need 2 sealing blocks here, repeater on 2 game ticks, and then right here. And yeah, that should be the entire top already done. Just like this. Alright, and now we can move on to the bottom. Okay, let's actually start with the opening first. So first I will replace this here. Now you have the notebook here, so that updates this piston from that being powered here, so it can go up in the closing. Now let me just, let's see what it actually needs to do. So top is going to push down, right? So this piston needs to grab this block here at 3 game ticks before the top pushes down another time. Then this piston here will be actually, 1 block higher, like this. And we'll grab this block at 6, middle will grab at 7, this retracts at 8, this retracts at 10, and then we can grab this block down here with a double and finish everything up. So yeah, that's basically what we need to do. So actually quite a bit, but we can manage. So let's get this 3 game tick thing here first. So block here, lamp here, dust on top of the block, and repeat on 8 of this lamp. Then I block here, dust on top, sticky piston here, target block here, and then a normal piston right here. So basically, let's dust this. So yeah, what's going to happen is that we will actually place a target block here, which means that this is now powered from the input line and will instantly retract when we turn off the input, right? Oh, by the way, this also makes that here push up on the closing. And the reason we have it is that the side can now push it in. And that just makes everything a little bit easier, because otherwise you would need to, push this up, push this in, push this up again, and then push this in one more time. But like this, we really only need to, since this will already be pushed in from up here, we need to push up here once, insert this block, and then push up again. So it just simplifies the sequence, basically. Alright, but this here makes this update, because we will keep it buttered, right? It's QC'd here, but then it will actually instantly go up in the opening, redirecting this dust, which powers this piston through the node block. But since it's redirected, it's no longer powered, so it will be buttered, right? Like so. And then the top, since it actually gets updated with more block event delay than this here, we'll place this block here after this block has been placed, which means this block can update this and we get the 3 game retraction. So yeah, just a really cool way I came up with to do the butt here with not a lot of space. And yeah, that's that. And we also get this storage here from it, because this stays up until this turns off, and this just uses through the block, right? Alright, let's do this storage here next on the opening. It will just need to retract at 6 game ticks, which we get from this here. Right, and now for the middle, which needs to retract at 7, we need a triple leaf here, and then just an observer going into this. And this pulse will be blocked on the closing because the side moves, right? And yeah, we can actually also get the second pulse for this piston, which needs to retract at 10. And that comes from 3 observers, which we place like this, and like this, and then a floor block. Alright, so let's just remove these blocks, I guess, for now. And yeah, if we update this and place in our blocks again like so, and also replace the double here and remove this. Alright, and now we can actually test the opening. So you can see this is going to retract. The top pushes, this grabs, this goes down now, this grabs. And now we just need a double extender here, and this gets seamless, so yeah. Oh, now we only need a double extender and the closing. Alright, so let's get to the double. You will have 2 blocks here, right? And we will zero tick this piston at 10 game ticks exactly by using a setup like so. Piston here facing inwards, sticky piston here. And basically what we are doing, we are just retracting this here at 6 game ticks, which means it was retracted up at 10. Then what we are going to do is we have an observer here, and that will actually detect the side pushing down, and then it will make this turn on at 17. So all we really need to do is retract this at 18 again, and then we get the 0 tick for the final retraction here. And to get the retraction at 15 game ticks, we are going to reuse this here. Well, yeah, let's just get everything at a time. So we need to break this for a second to place an observer here. Right, so coming out of this piston. And then we just place 3 more observers like this. And that's the correct time for the last pulse. 10 game tick, 0 tick we get from this here. By the way, when the doors open, it should be like this. Now to power the piston up here to grab that block, we will power through the floor. And yeah, we will be doing this with a glass pane here. Observer pointing down, observer pointing over, and then observer pointing this way. Then I stick over up is also this to go up in the closing. Normal piston here, and then observer going into the floor here. Alright, so let's get the second last retraction now, which would be by 3 game tick pulsing this here, which means this updates again, which makes this power again. And that's really easy, just sticky piston and observer here. And then below here, between the lamp and the node block, and another observer pointing towards the node block. Alright, that should actually be the opening done already. We can test it. So place everything in like so. And now that should be the opening done. We get that. This instantly gets teleported up, retracted, and then the final retraction. Perfect. Right, now we only need the closing, and we actually kind of have a little bit of it already. So if I just show you, when this goes over, we get a pulse here, another pulse here. So we need to pause at the correct time to insert the block in between, and then we need to update this because it's like blocked to push in, and then give this one more pulse, and then that's it for the closing. So yeah, the pulse for that piston will be coming from an observer like this, and the floor block. Now we have an issue because that observer actually powers this piston here. I placed this earlier, the immovable block, so if you fill in our floor now, this actually can't push, and that is not an issue. Now to make this piston here push in earlier, all we need is an observer and our floor block here. And now if you just watch, what's going to happen is, now we get this. This is timed perfectly, this goes up, this goes in. And now really we only need one more pulse here, timed, so that it goes up. And then should be the entire closing. Yeah, and the pulse is really simple. All we need is to observe like so. Now why does it actually work? Because behind this is this observer here goes up in the closing, which means this can get an output from it. This is also up during the closing, and then these two will just update the observer, which is then up here, basically. Yeah. Now if I click the lever, you have the closing. That last pulse also blocks the top from extending, and yeah, that's the entire door. Alright, so let's fill in the door frame real quick. So everything I'm placing now can be non-solid. And yeah, just one final note here. This block, right, the one that makes the wall seamless, can't be non-solid. It has to be solid because we actually powered through, right? But this block can be non-solid, these two can be non-solid, whatever. Just that block, And obviously also all of the other blocks I placed that need to be solid, like, these blocks, this block, whatever. Right, let's do one more test. Yeah, that's it. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. I hope you learned something from it. And yeah, see ya.